Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Press Pause with Jouhayna. On today's episode, I have a very special guest who I've followed on social media for a long time, and I send all her posts to everybody I know because she gives real estate advice. Her name is Majdel Musa, and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming here and making the drive and choosing the location to be my house.
Actually, so it's funny because, as I told you, I actually lived here in your community for a couple of years. So moved here when I first got engaged to my husband.
Yeah,
and
same.
then we spent the first few months of our marriage together here. So very good memories here.
Oh, that's so good. Nostalgic.
Yeah.
That's so great. So the way that I usually start the podcast is with a rapid fire round because I'm let's get it over with. Let me know you real quick. So I'm going to flip this 1 minute sound timer, and then I'm going to say a different word, and you just tell me the first thing that pops into your head when I mention a certain word. Okay, that's it.
Ready?
Okay, ready?
I think so.
1, 2, 3. Color.
Burgundy.
Hobby.
Photography.
Holiday.
Destination.
Whatever comes to your mind.
Istanbul.
Nice. Movie. Frozen.
Yeah, Frozen. I haven't seen that one. It used to be Gone with the Wind many years ago.
Oh, okay. Dessert.
Knafe.
Oh, I love kunafa. Song.
My Way, Frank Sinatra.
Okay. And number.
7.
That's my lucky number. Day of the week.
Wednesday.
Car.
Cayenne.
Person.
Husband.
Oh, cute. Board game.
Scrabble.
Love it. Oh, it's still going. Okay. Breakfast.
Turkish.
And lunch.
Oh,
I'm hungry.
Oh. Lunch, I mean, meal in general, I would say musakhan.
Okay, what is that?
So it's a very Palestinian dish.
Okay.
It's actually, so olive oil is the basis for it. It's the center point, the focal point of it.
Yeah.
And then there are onions, summa, and also chicken.
That sounds really good.
Yeah.
Is it like Mama Ish is like the Palestinian restaurant? Do they have that?
Yes.
I can taste it?
Absolutely.
Okay, done. This is the first dish I'm going to try the next time I go there.
Yes, I recommend it.
And also your name's Majdel.
Majdel.
What does it mean?
So actually, I am named after a Palestinian city.
Okay.
That was depopulated in 1948 by the Zionists. And my mother had read a book. So my mother is actually Belgian.
Okay.
And my father is Palestinian. And she had read a book about a priest who was a Zionist. And then he went to Palestine after 1948 and he saw the destruction, specifically around Majdel was the name of the city.
Yeah.
And he then became pro-Palestinian from there. So my mom read the book and she asked my father, can this be a girl's name? And he said yes. And she said, okay, my first daughter, I will name in honor of the city.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
Yes.
Not what happened to the city.
No.
But the name, the source of the name. And you're also a mixed kid.
Yes.
Thank you. Me too. If anybody doesn't know, I am half Emirati and half Tanzanian. So we've got a whole mix on this table today. So the name of this podcast is called Press Pause. So if we were to quite literally press pause on your life right now, what would it look like?
So actually, this is the pause right now.
Yes.
Right this second, this is the pause. This is the calm before this storm because I'm actually about to start a couple of real estate related projects.
Okay.
That I'm going to be working on very heavily in addition to what I'm doing now, which is teaching the real estate courses for ThinkProp.
Mm-hmm.
So an announcement to be made soon. I can't disclose it right now, probably in May, inshallah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really right now the calm, like preparing for that. And then it will be the chaos, yes, the storm.
Beautiful chaos.
Yes.
I'm excited for you. I wish you all the best, inshallah.
Thank you.
And, when I went on your Instagram, I saw that, you've lived in Chicago, you're from Palestine, you're now living in Dubai. You're a real estate trainer for ThinkProp, advisory board for Baitukum.ae. Also, I love Latifa. I love her on the podcast. She's so I love her. And you're also a mentor for 60-day startups and a lawyer, but you're not practicing law anymore?
Yeah, so as of last year, I don't do it on a daily basis. Occasionally, I help out some law firms if they need some help with contracts or other types of advice. But I actually am doing the real estate training courses.
Okay.
So doing the licensing courses for Dubai, the RERA exam, Abu Dhabi licensing occasionally as well, and then other kind of legal courses like anti-money laundering for the real estate sector in the UAE, those types of things. And as I said, I'm going to be getting into real estate more deeply, inshallah, soon.
Inshallah.
So yeah, those are the main things that I'm doing now. And then advisory board for Baytukum is, it's on an as needed basis. So if Latifa and Taali want to have a call with me, we have a call. We discuss whatever issues. They throw ideas at me and get my feedback. Or Farah, the CEO, sometimes will call with a question as well. So yes, I'm just available on demand for them.
Yes, you're like lawyer Google.
Yeah, sort of.
Like we need answers.
Yes.
Oh, that's so good, mashallah. And okay, so we know what you do. And if we were to take the titles away, what would you describe yourself as? And this is also part of why do the rapid fire, just to remind yourself that you are more than lawyer Google.
No, that's actually really good because that's not something a lot of people think about. And when I introduce myself, it's always with the titles, right? So that's a good question. So I would say I'm someone who contributes to her community in different ways. I've done a lot of volunteering, whether it was in Chicago or here.
Yeah.
And then also I'm an educator in general. It doesn't have to be just about real estate topics or legal topics, but whenever I see something even on the news and I believe people will benefit somehow from it, I'll post it on social media. So I like to educate people and make sure that they know what their rights are, what their obligations are, etc.
Yeah, I agree because all your posts I send to people. So even before I even slid in your DMs, I always would see information and then I would send it. So my sister Mira, she lives in downtown and she's always been at war with her landlord. And your posts have helped her stand her rights and know exactly what her rights are as a tenant. So I just want to thank you for that.
Oh, that's amazing.
I got really overwhelmed that I'm like, I cave. I decided to buy the place that I'm in now. And I know not a lot of people can afford that. So it's just so good that you give that knowledge to the public and you do that for so many different things. And one of the things I noticed in your Instagram is that with everything happening in Palestine right now, you made the decision that your platform is going to be a way for you to spread awareness regardless. And how's that going? Because now it's been, and I did the math yesterday when I was prepping, it's been 188 days of,
unfortunately,
the war, which is terrible that is even going on. And for me personally, I had to separate myself from it because it would distract me at work because of all the videos of the kids and everything. I was like, I'm thinking of children, and then I see children suffering and I'm like, I want to adopt every one of them.
Yeah, no, it's really horrific. I mean, I don't even have the words for it. And, the first few months it was all about crying and then it's different phases. You go through crying and then anger and then back to crying. It's
a lot.
It's really an emotional roller coaster. Of course, that's nothing compared to the people who are living through it. But in the beginning, I promised myself that I wouldn't share anything except news on Palestine. And I was even on a podcast for real estate in September, and then it got aired in late October. And I didn't even share it then, really, because I thought, no, it's not related, so I'm not going to do anything with that. But then as the months went on, and it seems that it's not going to end anytime soon, inshallah it will, but then it became clear that, okay, I have to start kind of doing some business things and adding in other stories, but I'm still going to share about Palestine. So that actually is the majority of my post is still about Palestine if you take a look at my stories every day on Instagram.
I love that. I love that you are sharing knowledge, but standing the ground to your roots to make sure that news is spread. Because at one point in time when it did start, it was everywhere. And I feel like it's been tapering off slowly. And the restrictions Meta has been put out, and the restrictions everywhere. And I don't think it's right, because it shouldn't be the case. This is the reality of what is going on. So I wanted to ask you about that. And I just thank you for sharing.
Oh, thank you for asking me.
Yeah. So thank you for doing your part in sharing. And part of the podcast with Press Pause with Jouhayna is the reality of what's going on in your life. And this is part of that, even though it's a very touchy topic for a lot of people, whether it's them being directly impacted or impacted by being from there or just being Arab, So thank you for sharing, and thank you for being comfortable enough to talk about it on the podcast.
And thank you for asking. Appreciate it that you're open to it.
Yeah, I am. I'm open to a lot of things. Okay, so now that we've spoken about present day, is there anything else you'd like to add in your present day before we go back in time? Not really. No? Okay, that's fine. So now if we were to hit the metaphorical rewind button, what would we see your life look like from back in the day? What's the first memory you can think of? And then just take us from there and up until present day.
So first memory, I would say, would be about, I was 4 years old.
Okay.
And I was actually in Belgium. So my mother had sent me to go live with my grandfather and his wife for a few months. Well, it was supposed to be for a year, actually, initially. And I was sent to preschool, basically. And they were trying to teach the different shapes. So they were holding up the block. So they had a triangle, and they said, du triangle, and we were supposed to repeat. And they came around the table, and everybody's supposed to repeat. And it comes to my turn, and I was like, no. I was very stubborn. I just refused. So they kept doing it different shapes. I'm like, no. And so then we went out to the playground, and I saw a tricycle, and I sat on the tricycle, and a bee stung my bum.
A bee stung your bum?
Yes, it was amazing.
That's what you get.
Oh, yeah. Well, wait for that now. So I go to the teacher, and I ask her, and I said, oh, there's a bee stung me. And she just shrugged, and she's like, yeah, I don't know what you're saying. Yeah. Oh, no. So I remember that I had to wait till my grandmother's wife came to pick me up, and then we went home and she fixed it for me. But yeah.
Oh, wow. This reminds me of a story that I've been told. I don't have recollection of the story, probably because there was no pain involved, like yours. But the first day, the interview you go for the headmaster for kindergarten to decide if they'll let you into the school. So my mom was busy at work. My dad was off a shift. So my dad and my grandma took me. This is my grandma's favorite story to tell me. So we go, and the headmistress is like, okay, come upstairs. And when we walked in, I saw there's this outdoor area, also tricycle. So much fun. And then I saw all these kids playing. And then there are other kids studying in a room. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. And then I have to go upstairs and go away from all the fun. And I was like, that's not okay. And imagine me, I'm this little 3 to 4 year old mixed kid, big brown eyes, afro, okay? Because my grandma was all about embracing the curls. And we go upstairs, and this lady's asking me all these questions. She's like, what is your name? How old are you? And she just keeps asking me all these questions. And I remember she definitely had big red hair. That's the only memory that I have of her. And she's asking me all these questions, and I'm just looking at her, and I go silent. And I'm not a quiet girl from the time I was a child. And I go silent, and I'm like, because that's how my grandma would tell me to keep quiet. And I went downstairs and I played on the tricycle, and I was hanging out with all the kids. Done. So that's my story of shut up, woman.
So you didn't get into the school?
I got it. She's like, at least she has a personality.
That's good.
Yeah. I still am the same way, but I just tell people to keep quiet with my eyes. But it just reminded me of that story. Okay, and then after that, you were raised in Belgium?
No, actually, so that only lasted probably about 4 months.
Okay.
I was supposed to stay for a year, but then I think they just got frustrated with me being so stubborn.
Same.
So, yeah, so they sent me back to Chicago. So I was born and raised in Chicago, basically.
Oh, okay, all right. And then how did you end up in the Middle East?
So I always wanted to actually leave the U.S., despite being born and raised there.
Yeah.
I've never really liked living there.
Okay.
Just
because?
The lifestyle, I think just the ignorance in general. And so I thought, I want to leave one day. And I tried actually after university. I went to Jordan. I was only supposed to go for a few weeks, stayed for over a year. And my father came dragging me, kicking and screaming back to the U.S. He's like, back to reality. Let's go. So I went back to the U.S. and then I decided, so I did real estate as a broker for a year and a half. And then I decided, back to my original plan, which was law school.
Okay.
So went to law school. And then after law school, I started my own firm, had that for 10 years. And then finally, I just decided, now was the time to go.
Okay.
And just got literally no job here. My sister was living here already with her family. So she said, okay, you could stay with me for a couple months while you figure things out. So closed down my firm and just got on a plane and my 3 suitcases and came to Dubai, and that was it. I just figured things out as I went.
And how long ago was this?
So that was 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
I just reached my 10-year anniversary.
This is also your anniversary podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so great. And then you mentioned that when we discussed the podcast, and I was like, oh, tell me what you're comfortable to talk about. So, you got divorced and remarried after 40. Did you guys meet here?
We did. Yeah, so it's a funny story because so we met on, it was called Muzmatch at the time. I think it's just called Muz now.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a Muslim matchmaking site. Oh, cute. And it was funny because I had a male friend tell me that, oh, you should get on Muzmatch. And I said, no, I've been like in the US, I did these kind of things and they're all psychos, major issues. And no, thank you. I'm okay. And then a day or two later, another male friend told me you should get on Muzmatch. So I'm like, oh, let me see what this is about.
It's a sign.
Yeah. So I went on the app and I put on a picture, which I had never done previously. So, and right away, my husband ticked on the box and I opened his profile and I said, oh, he's cute. And then I read the profile and I was like, he's too positive for me.
He's too positive?
Positive, imagine.
Wow, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. So I talked to other guys for about 2-3 days, but every day I would go back and check his profile. And I didn't know that when you go and check somebody's profile, you can see. So he's
been getting profile notifications?
Yeah, so he's
been going back?
How's she looking? She's not talking to me, but she keeps looking at you. What's happening?
Okay.
So finally, after 3 days, I decided, okay, let's do this.
Okay.
So I talked to him. We got on the phone. We talked for 3 hours that night. He said, okay, we're going to meet on Friday.
Okay.
And
the Lord's Day.
And then he told me, he said, if it were up to me, we would be getting married on Friday. I was like, okay.
Friday or this Friday?
This Friday.
Wow.
The Friday we're meeting.
He's very positive.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, very positive. And I thought also like, wow, kind of into himself a lot. It's pretty arrogant.
That helps, honestly.
So, and driving on the way there on Friday, he actually said, how does it feel to come meet your future husband? And I was like, okay, man, now that's a little bit
wound down.
A little bit too much. But then we actually hung out for 14 hours.
Oh, straight.
We had to actually, because the mall closed. So we sat in the car for a couple more hours.
Oh, I love that.
And then that was it. Like 3 weeks later, we went and got the ring. I had told my father about him, all these things.
3 weeks. So, I think when you know.
Exactly.
When you know. Like I knew with my husband, Andy, like the third date, I'm like, all right, I accept.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, mashallah, that's good to know because I do have, like, I've been exploring Islam more recently. Like I grew up Muslim, but it wasn't deeply ingrained in me. So now I'm exploring it as an adult, and even my friend, my closest friend, she's also been exploring it as an adult. Same story, and she is still single, so she's been like, oh, how am I supposed to meet someone in the halal way now?
There you go.
This match.
Yes.
Done. I'll tell her, I'm like, Habibti, in a month you'll be married.
Inshallah.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's so... And then you guys lived in the same community I'm in now for a little while.
Yes.
Cute.
Yes.
That's so beautiful. And then how was that transition? Like, was it smooth? Did it just click with you guys? Like even choosing to live together and everything after the marriage? Was it just like, because you guys clicked obviously when you met. And then was it just smooth? Like when you move in with somebody new and things like that, was it still
Yeah, because we actually ended up, so we thought we would be married that winter. So it was August when we met, and we thought when my parents come in the winter, we'll get married. But then there were a whole lot of paperwork, especially for me, because being a divorcee, you have to have everything attested, all these things. So I had to get everything, and it just...
I didn't know that.
Yes. And then, of course, then my father also had to be here. So then I had to, wait until he came back again, since the paperwork wasn't ready when he was there. So it was about 1.5 years. So we had time to get to know each other.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I think it's important to take that time because it's a forever commitment.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Alhamdulillah. Good for you. I love that. And another thing that I really love and I think is just so refreshing is you're very comfortable with your age, which I hope to be. Well, because my mom is she lies about her age. Sorry, Mom. But she can get away with it because, she does look 20 years younger than what she is, mashallah. Genetics and good doctors. She's going to kill me, but it's true. So you also mentioned that, you've done some work and you're very open about that. So tell me more, because I want to also age gracefully, because mashallah, look at you.
Oh,
nothing. And it's not just the podcast lights.
Although I think it's time for some fillers.
Yes, share the number. I'll send it to my mom. So.
No, so I'm 47 and I'll be 48 inshallah this year in October. And I've done Botox. And I actually started very late, probably a couple of years ago. So that's pretty late. They tell you should start, some say in the 20s, but at least in the 30s. So it was very late starting. And also because I did lose a lot of weight in the past couple of years, which we can also talk about as well.
Yeah.
I had started having a turkey neck. So I did some fillers because I'm not going to do a facelift or anything. Although my doctor pulled up a face like this and said, "When you're ready," and I was like, "No, I don't like it."
I feel like dermatologists and plastic surgeons are so savage.
Yeah,
sometimes because it's like I've gone to a few just because I'm like, what would you fix? And they're like this. I'm like, I'm leaving.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's also...
It hurt my feelings.
No, they're always telling me, you should do a bluffer to raise the hooded eyes and to get rid of the fat pads under the eyes so you have less... I
was like, yeah, no, do you take insurance? Oh, wow. And yeah, so how's that been going? Because I feel like, mashallah, you look great now. So what's the journey been like?
For the
weight loss. I'm really curious about the weight loss because I'm on my journey as well.
So I actually ended up doing gastric sleeve. So I had avoided it. I've been up and down in weight my whole life.
Yeah, same.
And I avoided it for probably 20 years. I said, no, I can do it on my own. And I did. And I, like I said, up and down. So I did do it. And I had trainers, even up till COVID, even though I was very overweight at that point, I had trainer 3 times a week just to stay at least fit.
Yeah.
Even if I was fat, So, but then COVID came, lockdown. I got to 143 kgs. So it was too much at that point. And I thought, okay. And I tried to do these meal plans where they send you 3 healthy meals a day.
Yeah.
And I only lost maybe 5 kgs in 3 months. And I thought, that's not going to motivate me to keep going. That's just too slow. So I ended up doing the gastric sleeve surgery, which is where they cut out basically 80% of your stomach. So that bean-shaped part of your stomach, they remove that. And you're only left with a sleeve, a tube, basically. So I did that, but I have had some complications. Not a lot of people get it, but apparently I'm the lucky few.
Of course.
So I have acid reflux and bile reflux, a hernia, some other things going on in the stomach. So I have some GI issues right now.
No, I'm sorry to hear that because this is what I've been worried about. So
it's a possibility, but like I said, they say that a small portion of people get it, but yes, I'm unfortunately one of those few. So, but in general, I mean, people always ask, "Would you still do it?" I think so. I think I would do it again because, to be honest, it is being lighter is easier, right? And there are just so many things I can do much easier. And even it's funny because my husband laughs at me because I'm always crossing my legs. Even
crossing your legs, you can't do that.
I could not. I could not cross my legs. So now I just cross because I can, and it's not great for you.
It's not good for your spine, but I can do it.
Yes. Yeah, so, and the seatbelt, so I used to have to get an extender in the airplane, which was always embarrassing, and And then I couldn't sit in the extra legroom part because it's the emergency exit. And so they say if you have a seatbelt extender, that means that you physically can't help people. Yeah, it's not true, but
domino effect of
But so the minute that I started losing enough weight, and then I didn't need the extender, that was like a victory for me.
It's a huge victory.
Putting a towel around you, like actually wrapping it, like I never had that, so that was fantastic. So a lot of they call them non-scale victories.
So non-scale victories.
Yeah,
I didn't know that's what it's called. Yes. But I've got a couple. Excited for myself.
Yeah, so no, it's been good, but like I said, it did come with a bit of a price.
Yeah.
But now I've got to be careful because it's more than 2 years. So the first 2 years, you kind of coast through it, and you can kind of eat whatever you want and get away with it in small portions because your stomach is tiny.
Yeah, you don't have that.
But then you have to really be careful because then you could start gaining again. And since I've suffered a lot,
I'm through it. Yeah, no, you can't.
So it's very sensitive right now for me.
Oh, I can imagine because even for me, like my weight has fluctuated a lot. And, growing up, I was always told I'm fat. But now when I look back, I was just voluptuous. Like I'm half Arab and half African. Like, and then Allah, you have to have
You're going to have her,
So in ballet, they tell you to be straight, tuck your bum in, the hips to the ceiling, whatever, so I was always told I was bigger. And then now when I look back, I really wasn't. I was just a couple of kilos over the weight I was supposed to be. And then I lost weight. And then when I joined air traffic control, I had a cousin that lives in the US who also joined air traffic control. And she was 4 pounds over. So they told her to reapply later. And I was like, oh no, I have to make sure I'm below. So I was within the BMI that I'm supposed to be. I was so hungry those days.
I did not realize that even air traffic control, you've got to...
Yeah, well, over here, it wasn't as strict. So actually, I didn't have to lose the weight. I could have been my actual weight. So I lost the weight thinking that I had to for the program. And then I get to work and I'm like, everyone looks, as my mother would say, healthy. So I was like, I can eat. So that's exactly what I did. And I'm a stress eater, and air traffic control is the most stressful job in the world. So I gained a lot of weight. Like in my training, I think it was like 2.5 years, I put on like 35 kilos. And then after I graduated and I made that air traffic money, I'm like, I'm rich enough to have a personal trainer.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I did. Hired a personal trainer, lost all the weight again. And I was like muscular at that point. And I was the fittest I ever was in my life. And then COVID happened, and then I was stopped moving, but I ate the same. 40 kilos. Yeah. But I didn't realize it was 40 kilos. Like, I even shared this on one of the other episodes. Like, my husband, Andy, he's muscular and big, and he's, like, athletic, and he's a PT. And for me, I'm much shorter than him, and we weighed the same. We're, like, both 106. And everyone that referred to him, they were like, oh, he's such a big guy. And then... when I realized I weighed the same as him, I was like, and I'm much shorter than you're, like almost a foot shorter than him. So I was like, oh, that's not so great. And then when I went back for my air traffic medical, because every 2 years I have to go back because of my age. I think after a certain age, you have to go back every year, and then every 6 months once you're much older. So I went there, and the air medical doctor is like, what happened? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm healthy. We did all the blood work. I was healthy, but I was overweight. They're like, your BMI is too high. We're sending you to an endocrinologist. Maybe you have a hormonal issue. I'm like, fine. I go there. The first thing recommended to me was a gastric bypass. And I was like, I've heard the stories. No. I was like, give me another option. So first she put me on Ozempic, and now I'm on Wegovy. So without trying, Yanni, I'm losing the weight. But that was the initial plan. So I'm glad I didn't do it. Plus I have to use up so much annual leave. No, I'd rather inject myself once a week. So it's been an interesting journey. And I also feel like everyone's injecting these days. Is that something you're allowed to do to help? Because it's also diabetic medication. So is it something you're allowed to do to help with your symptoms, or is that just going to make yours worse?
No, so that I don't believe will help. So they've actually told me that if the acid reflux and bile reflux don't go away on their own, that I might have to do the bypass, which I refused to do from the beginning because I heard of all of the complications.
Yeah.
And people, there are people who are malnourished very badly. Some people I was reading, I got on the Facebook groups, and you see these nightmare horror stories
completely
about people that have they have to have a feeding tube and their stomach is taken out altogether and all these things. So I thought, no, I don't need that.
No,
and because with my luck,
I
will be again one of the ones that get that bad. So it's like, no, that's okay. I'll just keep trying to do things naturally. But now I'm on all these medications, and unfortunately, one of the things, the Nexium, basically, which controls the acid, it also is known to weaken the bones, basically, or make you more prone to fractures. And I did fracture my foot just randomly last year. And when I got a bone density test later last year, I have very low density. So yeah, that's another thing I've got to be careful with too, is, it's just like one thing after another. So yes, I would love people to know that, yes, while it's amazing to be able to lose weight that way, it's also, there are complications that can happen.
So
people should be aware, because to be honest, I don't feel the doctors, they make it seem like it's so safe. And and even on those Facebook groups, you go and they're all, I would do it all over again. And it was so safe and I had no issues and this and that. And then you go to the other groups that are like, it ruined my life. So, and it's possible. Alhamdulillah, like mine isn't horrible like those people. But yes, there are some complications.
Yeah, exactly. So far, I've also feel like it's important to talk about the injections. So I'm hoping to get like a medical professional to like give their take on the podcast at one point. But from my personal experience, like I just was nauseous, like really, if anyone's wondering, if you're thinking about consulting a doctor to go on the prescription, it's expensive. It's nearly 2,000 dirham a month just for the injections. And then some insurance will cover it, some won't. So it's not really that accessible. And then you're nauseous, you can't eat. And then if you do eat, you feel sick. But if you don't eat, you also feel sick.
Yeah.
So there's no winning. Like now, it took me almost a year to be like, oh, I've gotten used to it. Or maybe it's just my new normal. I'm always nauseous. Who knows? But now it's gotten a little bit better. And I do feel better. And now is when I'm noticing the weight loss. So I was gradually losing maybe like half a kilo a week for the last year. And then Ramadan just... my cheekbones came back out. They were like, hey, we're here, sit on them. So, if anyone is thinking about doing these injections, like make sure you find the doctor that's reliable for sure. And then, make sure that you are consistently speaking to them. Like for me, I am constantly speaking to my doctor. I'm like, hey, I don't feel good. She's like, okay. And one of the things also that not a lot of people will talk about, but get fiber and probiotics. You know what that means. Because it's one of the things that you will struggle with. And you have to make sure, everything's working.
Exactly.
To get it all out. So, And thank you for sharing all of that.
Sure.
Okay, so we've done press pause, present day. And mashallah, your life. Good luck with your real estate ventures. I can't wait for your future chaos in the best way. May you handle it in the best way possible. And then we spoke about your life before and everything you've gone through. So thank you for sharing. I really appreciate that. Now, if we were to take a glimpse and press fast forward, other than, what you can't speak about for the project you have coming up, what does that look like for you? Are you comfortable to share?
I mean, honestly, a lot of it is going to be most likely those projects. So I'll be super busy with that. And also really just planning. So my husband and I had a talk recently about, we were kind of flying by the seat of our pants with as far as what to do for after retirement.
Oh yeah.
And we didn't really make any solid plans. Like, where are we going to go? Because he's Pakistani. I don't want to go back to America. I mean, I made it clear from the beginning that I'm not going back to America.
Yeah.
We can't go to Palestine for obvious reasons. Jordan is not in a great shape right now either. Yeah. So it's just where are we going to end up? So we were thinking maybe Turkey, but they have their own issues now too. So there are just so many things. So yes, to have a really solid retirement plan as far as the finances, where to go and what to do, because we were thinking like we'd love to have like I've always wanted to have a B&B kind of thing. Like a little maybe hotel or something, a few rooms, or even just a cafe, books, something like that. Like
people that
something,
way.
Something nice that we can run it, but it's not that crazy. Yeah, something nice to do to have a little bit of income coming in, but yet calm. So, but we need to plan. So hopefully in the next 5 years that we would have, inshallah, the plan all laid out.
Oh, that sounds good. Yeah, for me, I plan literally a million steps ahead, and I never chill. Like even today when I messaged you, every 3 hours I would wake up, I'd have an idea from my sleep, message or text or make a note, and then go back to sleep. So I remember even with Andy, like now I'm 29 and I'm already like, okay, where are we going to retire? Where are future mixed kids that we don't even have yet going to end up? Really.
You know what? I used to be like that too. But to be honest, what I found through life is that you plan, like, you plan and Allah has bigger plans. Like,
exactly.
He has his own
the greatest of all plans,
right?
Of course. Yeah.
So yes, have a plan, but you don't have to be married to it, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I completely agree.
Right? Like be ready for changes and go with the flow, basically.
I mean, I'm quite adaptable because as air traffic controller, you have to be able to adapt. So it did translate into real life. So thank you for that advice. And anybody else listening, listen to her. Okay, so this is you sharing your microbiography. And again, thank you for sharing and teaching me so much as well. And now I know that there's a city called Majdel as well. So thank you for educating me and whoever else is tuning into the episode. Something I didn't include, so every guest gets a welcome pack, as you did. And I didn't include the second part of the episode just because I'm trying to keep it under wraps until the first episode launches. So there's a second part of the podcast, which I haven't told anybody about. And I told you about it literally as you walked in. I'm like, so there's a second part. Are you ready? Because I realized I didn't really know you that well. So I was like, I don't want to startle you too much. So there's a game that's going to be played. It's called Jenga. And are you familiar? Have you played it before?
Yes.
Okay, so it's Jenga. Basically, I wrote questions on it. I don't even remember what the questions are because I wrote this like 3-4 months ago. And then I put it in a box and I let it marinate. So are you ready?
Yeah, I think so.